Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm playing some more Total War Warhammer. We're back in action in another online battle, replay rather. I am again taking the Empire, and this time I'll be facing off against the forces of Chaos, and it's going to be a good time. We've got Boris Todbringer up on a Griffin, of course, with the Midland Runefang, Zintler's Reichsguard, a steam tank. We've got 4 Flagellants with the Sigmar Sons in the center, 4 spearmen, and 2 handgunners, as well as the Sterling's Revenge Free Company Militia. For my opponent's force, and the reason I wanted to show you guys this battle, I think he's got a really cool build here. He's got, up in the air, a Chaos Lord with a healing potion on a Manticore. He's got a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal with just Plague of Rust and nothing else up on a Manticore, as well as 1 more Feral Manticore for good measure. And the idea is you use the Plague of Rust to debuff the enemy Flying Lord, and then goon him with the 3, monsters. And definitely a fun build. I really like this. As well, he's got 1 unit of Dragon Ogres for some anti-large armor piercing. Looks like a Forsaken and a Chaos Warhound to back up that flank. In the center here, we've got a mix of Chaos Warriors with great weapons, regular Chaos Warriors, 1 Chaos Warrior with Halberd, of course 1 Aspiring Champion for morale support, as well as another Forsaken on this flank. So we'll get things moving now, and definitely going to be a fun time on the beautiful, beautiful Devastation of Ostermark map, one of my favorite maps in terms of thematic. The layout of it can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but since I've got an artillery advantage, my opponent will be advancing. And as you can see, he's doing a good job of keeping his Flying Lord and other monsters away from the range of the steam tank. Don't really have a great option. Probably should have, in hindsight, deployed out here. Probably would have had a little bit better shot up onto this ridge. But, you live and you learn. So now we're going to be able to get a shot here. But we do get a clean miss on all of these flying units, so a bit unfortunate there. We're going to fast forward just a little bit as my opponent's forces continue to advance, and at this point, it's going to be tough because I can't challenge his flying air force in the air. Boris will get put down really hard. If I come to the ground, I'm not sure I have the units to deal with them either. And I really need these handgunners and these Sterling's Revenge to help support this mainline fight. However, I'm also going to need them to deal with this flying goon squad. So it's going to be tough, and if my opponent's able to engage everything all at the same time effectively, it's going to not allow me to do much damage either to his front line or to his flying goon squad, and either will cause problems. So as you can see here, the forces of Chaos are charging towards the line of unbreakable Empire units, and some nice fire coming off of the handgunners there. Sterling's Revenge as well, going to be opening up here, and getting some nice shots in. Nothing terribly effective so far. You can see the Flagellants are getting beat down in a big hurry. So this is going to be a bit of an issue. I was hoping this front line would hold a little bit longer here, but this unit of Spearmen gets absolutely gooned and quickly gets terrified off. I'm going to drop the Nets of Amantok here and use the Zintler's Reichsguard to get a great charge into these Forsaken, deal a ton of damage to them. The Lord as well has been netted here, so he's going to be shot by the steam tank. We're going to get the handgunners on him and do a decent amount of damage. As you can see, my main line is not faring very well at all, and these Dragon Ogres are now pushing over onto this flank, helping to finish off this unit of Flagellants with these Chaos Warhounds, and the Forsaken are now pulling through, and this is going to be a big problem for me. They're going to be able to carve through pretty much all the infantry I have left over here, and I really need to protect these handgunners. That Net of Amantok finally dropped over here, and these Forsaken are pretty much gone at this point. The Chaos Lord, I believe, had to pop his potion, and has taken quite a bit of damage, but Boris is now way out of position, got hit by the Plague of Rust, upgraded, and has taken a ton of damage from the Manticore and the Chaos Sorcerer, and so this is not a place he wants to be in. I'm going to try and run away with him, but my front line is collapsing. I need these handgunners to take out this Chaos Lord, but I also need them to take out these Chaos Warriors. There's just too much going on right now, and you can see the balance of power starting to shift against me. Boris is still under that Plague of Rust, lasts a really long time. And you can see these Forsaken mostly broke through here. They are getting gunned down slightly, but oh, I'm just not effectively able to hold my flank. The unbreakable troops got taken down way too hard, and this Chaos Lord did take a ton of damage, enough to be routed off, but since the balance of power is so heavily in my opponent's favor, his forces are unfazed, and they're going to continue just pushing through, pushing into my back line, and at this point there's little that I can do to stop this advance. Trying to regroup what little infantry I have to screen the advance, bringing down Boris. This is a big mistake. Those Dragon Ogres are going to make mincemeat of him. Bringing up the steam tank probably a little bit too late. I should have most likely had it supporting in that frontline fight a little earlier, because the Terror could have helped maybe rout off some of the Chaos units and maybe preserved some of that unbreakable front line. But yeah, you can see my forces getting mostly overwhelmed here, and the Flying Goon squad is, you know, very healthy still. The Lord is almost dead, but did come back from routing, so that's very unfortunate. These handgunners have regrouped, but they're very quickly going to be compromised. I'm trying to bring Boris in here to finish off the Metal Sorcerer. Do get quite a bit of damage, but another Plague of Rust getting dropped in. This Chaos Lord's going to charge in, and all this damage is going to pretty much finish off Boris in a big hurry. You can see how quickly he just got wrecked there. So, at that, the rest of my forces chain route, and just the steam tank remains, and I do admit defeat. So definitely a fun build for my opponent. Really enjoyed that. Thought you guys would enjoy it, and I might have to steal that build. I like my Big Bird build quite a bit against the Empire, but that's a lot of fun, having that Flying Goon squad with the Plague of Rust. I mean, Boris didn't stand a chance against those guys. You can see the Forsaken doing a great job mopping up on the flanks like they need to, and across the line the Chaos Warriors just doing a very good job of being cost effective, beating down those Flagellants. You can see my Flagellants getting a very low number of kills. Same with these Spearmen. I mean, all my infantry, even the Sigmar Sons, just got absolutely destroyed. And the handgunners, although they were able to do quite a bit of damage to the Lord, it was ultimately the infantry that just overwhelmed, and, you know, because I put so many marbles into trying to take down those flying units, I didn't have anything left to support the mainline fight. So the steam tank did get a chevron, but not quite, didn't probably quite do as much work as I needed it to, and the Nets of Amatok really didn't play a huge role. So immediately after I played that game, I ran into the same player, Fred, who's a very good player, I've learned, and had another really fun build, a really kind of different build that I thought I'd show you guys. In this, I will be bringing my Azhag anti-Beastmen build, which I'm not sure if I've casted a game yet of this build, but it's one I've been using for a while. It's a lot of fun, very good against Beastmen in my opinion. But my opponent, as you can see, has gone kind of off the meta, has not brought Morgr the Shadowgave, but instead has brought Khazrak the One-Eye. So very interesting, not someone you see very often. He does have Vanguard deployment, but the lack of healing and his relative squishiness makes him not super common pick. You generally will see Morgr more often. But we're going to kick things off shortly here. Any minute now. Alright, there we go. So we're going to slow-mo things just because I've got some nasty Vanguard action going on. I've got 3 Goblin Wolf Rider Archers, as well as the Morgub's Mangy Marauders. So a nice mobile missile presence. You guys know I'm a big fan of missile units, mobile missile units, especially against the Beastmen, due to their relative lack of armor, and you know, they don't really have a great response for them usually. For my main line, we've got 4 Savage Orcs with 1 Savage Orc Biggin on each flank, with 2 Black Orcs and the Warlord's Boys as a rear guard. As well, we've got these 2 Orc Boar Boy Biggins hidden in the forest. Azhag, in case you're wondering, is carrying Fate of Buna, Spirit Leech, and Soul Blight, as well as Wog and Stand Your Ground, of course. And he also has the Spider Banner, which gives him poison attacks, and the 8% charge bonus, which in the future I might cut this just because it's a fairly small effect range, and usually Azhag is trying to be mobile and move around the battlefield, so usually you're not going to have him just sitting there supporting. For my opponent's force, he's got this bodyguard for Khazrak here, 3 Centigors with great weapons, and Chaos Warhounds with poison. Khazrak, let's take a look at his abilities here, see what he's brought. Call of Violence, as well as Apocalyptic Vision for some leadership support, and looks like that's it. For my opponent's main line, he's got a mix of 3 Best Gore Herd with 1 Gore Herd with shield on each flank, 2 Ungor Spearman Herd just behind for some support, looks like 1 more here, as well as 1 Ungor Raider, Brace Shaman Lore of Wild, and a Gorbel. Looks like the Lore of Wild Shaman is carrying Just Evolve, and not the lore attribute, which in my opinion is a bit of a mistake. The Bestial Surge, you know, is definitely very strong in keeping your troops fresh, but I understand if you're trying to cut costs, it might not seem like the best thing. Personally, it's something I would usually bring, but, you know, to each his own. You'll have to let me know what you think, Fred, if you're watching this. We did have a good conversation in between those 2 games. I told him I really enjoyed that Chaos build, and you know, complimented him on his play, and it seemed like a pretty down-to-earth guy. He actually added me on his Steam friends list after, so if you're watching this, Fred, thank you for these battles. I had a lot of fun playing them, and we'll go ahead and kick this one off now, start to get things moving. You can see I'm doing a bit of skirmishing with my mobile units on this flank, doing quite a bit of damage to these Gore Herd with shields, but nothing too substantial so far. You see he's going to respond with his mobile force, just screening me, trying to push me back off, not just allow me to do free damage there. But he is going to see these Orc Boar Boy Biggins shortly, so he'll start to call off this attack, realizing that he probably doesn't want to get caught out here. Despite the fact that Centigors with great weapons will win one-on-one with the Boar Boy Biggins, but with the Savage Orcs here for support and Azhag nearby as well, probably not something my opponent wants to be messing with too much. So he is going to continue to use these Hounds, who are nice and cheap to screen. They're going to take some fire, but no big deal. They're pretty cheap units. So these Centigors with great weapons have taken a bit of damage as well, which is great for me. They're a very high damage unit, high value unit, so I want to try and do as much damage to them from range as possible. We're going to start the Spirit Leech spam on Khazrak, since he has no magic resistance or healing. Nothing to protect against that, so we will start trying to take him out. But as you can see, my opponent's force is just continuing to advance here. This Gore Herd is just about out of the fight, down below 40% HP now from all the ranged fire from those Goblin Wolf Rider archers. And if my opponent had brought Minotaurs, these Goblin Wolf Rider archers would be even more effective, because Minotaurs lack armor generally, and they cannot catch Goblin Wolf Rider archers, so it's a great, you know, kind of hard counter to them. These guys are going to get charged by the Savage Orc Biggins and quickly mopped up. You can see across the line here the Savages charging in. The Best Gore Herd, not going to do great in that fight. The Gorbel getting into the rear lines and chopping things up a bit, but with the armor sundering of the Warlord's boys, they'll be able to do quite a bit more damage against these Ungor Herd. You can see they're down to only 70 armor. However, the rear charge and this Brace Shaman Lore of Wild is doing some great work here. Over on this side, it's a little bit of a pitched fight here. The Savage Orc Biggins are doing some decent work. We've got a Fated unit on one of the Centigors with great weapons, and they're pretty much gone. But getting caught off, you know, on the back hoof here with the Boar Boy Biggins by these spears, that's really bad for me. It's very not cost effective. Soul Blight going down here. I thought, nope, not yet. Over here, I am able to clean up this flank effectively with my mobile units, but these Ungor Raiders are fighting an annoyingly long time, and you know, I do need to take them out because they do pose a serious threat to my Wolf Rider archers. You can see this Savage Orc got routed off by the Best Gore Herd, and this Black Orc is struggling somewhat. We're going to bring in some rear charge support. You can see Khazrak is about half HP, maybe 60%, helping to support this fight over here, just breaking up these Orc Boar Boy Biggins, which is very unfortunate for me. I definitely need their anti-large to help deal with these Centigors. Here in the mainline fight, the Warlord's boys are routing off, so I'm going to lose the armor sundering. These Black Orcs are holding. They're doing a bit of damage, but they are getting mostly overwhelmed at this point. They're saturated in with 2 Bestigors, the Gorbel, just a lot of units. Now, a beautiful rear charge coming in from the Centigors with great weapons. A really nice devolve here. I had a big blob of troops there, so he hit 3 units with that. Very, very good. You can see I'm positioning now the Wolf Rider archers to try and fire in to take out this Gorbel, to try and get rid of his support buff, as well as the fact that he's a very dangerous character in his own right. Azhag's going to get down here and take a bit of damage from these spears, but he will be able to goon Khazrak fairly effectively. Since Khazrak's on the chariot, he can't get knocked around, so all the damage, you know, from the charge, he will just take it right in the face. As you can see, my opponent's chasing around my mobile forces. This is very good. He's able to catch you know, some of my Wolf Rider archers, because Centigors are very fast, as well as the hounds. They're able to catch the Wolf Rider archers. Not a good situation for me. You see Khazrak charging back in here. He's very low at this point, though. Probably wants to try and get out of this fight and stay alive. Over here, it's fairly pitched. We've got a couple Black Orcs fighting in here, as well as a Savage Orc, I believe. Or, no, just one Black Orc. But another Great Devolve here, just tearing away the leadership. And because of getting folded up on the rear here, they're really in a bad spot. And we're going to get a nice rout here. And another beautiful rear charge by the Centigors with great weapons. Going to pretty much finish off those Black Orcs. You can see here these Savage Orcs over chasing a little bit. Probably should have pulled them back, but I really wanted to finish off those Ungor Raiders. At this point, my really only hope for victory is to use these Wolf Rider archers effectively to take out this Gorbel, maybe get a Spirit Leech or two on him. Khazrak is dead. You can see his chariot broken down over here. So leadership support is gone, except for the Gorbel and the Shaman, obviously, who are going to try and hold things together here. And we'll be able to do so fairly effectively. The Centigors with great weapons, only 11 models left, only about 400 HP, but they're still holding on, only now wavering. And you can see here these Boar Biggins trying to cycle charge in and out, but they are going to get caught by the Gorbel, and that's not a fight they want to be a part of in the slightest. We've got Azhag over chasing again. This is probably, you know, I probably should have kept him back over in this fight, but at this point I was just trying to use up all of the ammunition I had left on these Wolf Rider archers, as well as give my infantry maybe a chance to regroup, see if I could maybe get them back together in one position. But the routing is becoming a major issue. Army losses, you can see, are slightly stacking against me, ticking back a little bit in my favor there, but mostly slightly in my opponent's favor at this point. Yeah, you can see these Savage Orcs are way out of position on the far side of the map. I definitely need them over here at the moment. The Wolf Rider archers are continuing to get caught by Gorbel. It's very unfortunate, and the Warlord's boys are getting absolutely ransacked. Those poor little gobbos. What did they do to deserve this, besides being nasty little gobbos? The Wolf Rider archers just continuing to fight. A nice devolve there, doing some pretty good damage to the already shaky leadership of the Morgul's Managing Marauders. And it looks like they're going to rout off from that, as well as the Gorbel charging him down, which I can understand. You know, Gorbel's a scary guy. So over here I'm going to try to start cycling in and out with Azhag, try to do as much damage as possible and get rid of this Bray Shaman. I probably should have tried to get rid of him a long time ago. Those devolves that he got actually did a lot of damage, and you know, definitely helped break up some leadership of some critical fights. So probably should have gotten rid of him a long time ago, but I'm going to try and clean up that mistake now. But at this point, it's going to be pretty rough. So we're going to cue the circus music here, and I'll kind of try and engage piecemeal as I use up the last of my ammunition. We'll fast forward through this phase. As you guys can see, there's still quite a bit of the battle left. Not exactly the most exciting part of the battle, but at this point it was still close enough that I felt like I had a chance to win. So I was trying to cycle in and out and just use up the rest of my ammunition, like I was saying, and try and regroup all my forces, you know, to try to get an effective resistance. But it's not looking too good. Gorbel is pretty low, so I'm going to try and get in here and goon him, but this is a big mistake. I do get a nice charge and do quite a bit of damage there. Gorbel almost is dead, but he gets back up and gets some great attack animations in and out on Azhag, as well as these armor-piercing, you know, Vestigor. Looks like a devolve going down here, helping tear away Azhag's leadership, and the Gorbel just continuing to deal damage, and Azhag is actually going to rout at that, only down to 152 hit points, and the Gorbel is going to try and get one last charge. Azhag is able to escape back in the air, but Gorbel only 484, but still able to fend off Azhag. So rough for me. My opponent's in this forest, so the Wolf Rider archers, what little ammo they do have on this one last damage unit, won't be doing a lot. So we'll go ahead and fast forward again, just to get through some of this last part of the battle here. So I'm just trying to rest up these Savage Orcs. They are very tired, so those Black Orcs actually routed, which was very unfortunate. These Savage Orcs are not going to be having a good time. But at this point I was just trying to bring all my forces together. I didn't think I could win, so I was just trying to get things together for one final glorious charge. Fred was a great player, great sportsman, so he definitely deserved an epic last stand. So we're going to charge things in from all sides, and my timing is going to be a little bit off, so I'm not able to effectively get everything in. We do rout away this Gore Herd, We do rout away this Ungor Spearman herd. The Wogged is dropped, as well as Stand Your Guard, to try and keep these guys in the fight. You can see they're almost able to clean up those Bestigor herd. They're actually routing now. This Bestigor herd is about to rout, and it's actually looking fairly close, like maybe it could come back. We actually shattered one unit there, rout another, and it's looking very, very close at this point. But Azhag is still wavering, and the leadership is still shaky on most of my units, except for these Savage Orcs. They're doing quite a bit of damage, but everything just falls apart. So, very unfortunate. I felt like I maybe could have come back there. It was a slim chance, but, you know, the leadership of the Greenskins just not holding up. So, another great game. Hope you guys enjoyed watching those two battles. I definitely had a great time playing them. You know, I love coming up against a player who really can give me a run for my money, like Fred. And, you know, great game. Like I said, if you're watching, thank you very much for those. I hope you all, the rest of you, enjoyed watching them. I will be keeping the content coming with Norska on Tuesday. And, yeah, hope you guys will subscribe, like the video, you know, if you like the video. And we'll see you next time.